Why is furthering women's rights fundamental for development? Getting married at the young age of 9, my grandmother was like many child brides in the north of Sudan. My grandfather was 15 and had worked for many years prior to getting married. Unlike many girls her age, my grandmother continued her education until primary level, which is the equivalent of completing 6th class. She learned how to read and write, but due to having children, she could not finish her education. My grandparents' upbringing was not in any way unusual. These were the facts of life in Sudan back in the 20th century. I am now 17. The very thought of having to do what was required of my grandparents terrifies me. I cannot help but put myself in their shoes and question, what if it was me? What if I was married at such a young age, and what would I do? Unfortunately, many young girls in developing countries and around the world are forced to deal with these questions every day. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today to address this vital question of why furthering women's rights is fundamental for development. Today, I'll be speaking about how providing education and equal rights to all women will not only cause our communities to develop, but will also open up many opportunities that we've never even dreamed of. Women comprise more than half the world's population, working half the world's working hours, and yet only receiving 10% of the world's income. For many centuries and until this day, women are still expected to restrict their sphere of interest to their homes and their families. It is these types of expectations that limit countless women from reaching their full potential. Women are an important element of our society. If women are free from violence and are given equal rights as their counterparts, then not only their families will flourish, communities and nations will as well. A 2013 report by UNESCO showed that if all mothers received secondary school education, child deaths would be cut in half, saving 3 million lives. I believe that a girl's education is both a basic right and a critical lever to reaching other development goals. Providing girls with an education helps break the cycle of poverty and in return yields spectacular social benefits. As Brigham Young once said, "You educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman, you educate a generation." Educated women are less likely to marry early and against their will, less likely to die in childbirth, more likely to have healthier babies, and are also more likely to send their kids to school. If all children have access to education embedded in human rights and gender equality, this will create a ripple effect of opportunity that will influence generations to come. If educating a woman has so many benefits, then I ask you this question: why are millions of women and girls around the world still being denied an education? Well, the simple answer to this question is that there are many barriers that prevent these women from obtaining their rights. These barriers range from supply constraints to negative social norms. As long as these barriers remain, the fight for a woman's right to an education is far from being over. We now live in the 21st century, and it's heartbreaking to know that there are many women around the world being denied basic rights. These rights include the right to freedom, making decisions about their own bodies, and the right to an education. If women received similar rights as men, there's no stopping the rate of success and development that we would see. Education alone narrows pay gaps between men and women. In Pakistan, women with a primary school education earn 51% what men earn, and with a secondary school education, they earn up to 70% what men earn. So much of our lives is merely dependent on chance. The chance of being born in a developed country or a developing country. The chance of being born at the right place and in the right time. The chance of being born the son of a wealthy family, or even more difficult, the chance of being born a girl in a developing country and having to deal with the hardships and discrimination that are forced upon you merely because you are a girl. Imagine coming home from school, only to find out that next week you will be married off to someone you don't even know, a person you've never met, you've never seen. You beg your parents to reconsider, to think about your education, your health, your well-being. They tell you that the deal has been made, the dowry has been paid, and there is nothing left but the wedding. You breathe in and out, but can't feel the air entering your lungs. Starving for air, your heart races at tremendous speeds as you think about what you're going to do next. A cold metal band is placed on your ring finger. Before you know it, you've lost your freedom. The devastating aspect of this story is that somebody is living it right now. According to the International Center for Research on Women, in 2012, 70 million women around the world had been married before the age of 18. If present trends continue, it is estimated that 150 million girls will be married before their 18th birthday. That's an average of 50 million girls each year. These horrifying numbers can only be stopped if these young women are educated. If women were given all their rights, we would see unimaginable growth, both in our societies and in our communities. When reading through history, we are able to see what women have accomplished through minimal rights. In recent times, Malala Yousafzai has been a shining example of this. Now, could we just imagine the rate of success and development that we would see if women received more rights? Rights that every human is born with, but might be denied due to their gender. I believe that it's a violation of human rights when women are denied an education. I believe that it's a violation of human rights when girls are forced to become child brides simply because their parents no longer have the money to support them. I believe that it's a violation of human rights when babies are drowned and suffocated simply because they are born girls. Women must be given the rights to participate fully in the social and political aspects of their communities if we want freedom and democracy to thrive and prosper. Now is the time for women to be heard and for their calls to be answered. Now is the time to speak up to ensure that all women receive equal rights as their counterparts. Now is the time for change. I would like to end with a quote by Malala Yousafzai, who said, "I raise up my voice not so I can shout, but so those without a voice can be heard. We cannot succeed when half of us are held back." Thank you.